Hey everybody, James here, Total Car Care. I wanted to do a video today and show you guys a couple things in regards to vehicle wiring. Wiring repairs and wiring diagnosis, they're things that a lot of people really don't like about working on vehicles. They can be very difficult to track down. And I ran into a couple recently here that I wanted to show some examples to kind of give an idea of how it can be difficult. The first example I have here is from a vehicle that had a warning light come on. It ended up being a sensor that the light was on for, and the easy thing to do would be to just, hey, it probably needs a sensor. But once I got into the vehicle, I could see that there was maybe a little bit more something going on. So I ended up having to dig a little bit for it, but in the end, this is what I found. So you can see here on this wire how that one's not connected, and there's some green fuzzy stuff inside the wire. That green fuzzy stuff is corrosion, and what happened is that the insulation or the plastic coating on the outside of the wire got cut or scraped, and over time moisture got in there and caused that corrosion to build up to the point where there was no electrical connection anymore. And once I found that, I knew that was the issue on that one and was able to get that repaired. The one I had a couple weeks ago, actually, it took me a little bit of digging to find. It was a similar situation with a sensor, and I wanted to show you how minuscule it really was. So if you see there in the wiring, kind of right where my finger is, there's a little notch in the insulation. Very minor. Some people, what they like to do is they like to stab their test probe through the insulation to check the wire for voltage, and then they just figure, well, it'll probably be fine. Well, a teeny little bit of damage like that, what happens is that wire starts absorbing water, and the result of that actually can be seen here on this wire. So this wire was connected on here, as you can see, but this is what happened to the wire when that water got in. The wire turned black. New wire, what wire's supposed to look like, is copper like that. So that water came in that little spot, seeped all the way up the wire, and it actually ruined about 6 to 8 inches of wire on that harness. So once I was able to find that damaged point, I cut the wire and was able to find how far back it went and replace that section of wire. But sometimes wiring repairs are difficult. They just take a long time to get to the bottom of. And it's also really important, if you do work on your own vehicles, be very careful with the wiring. You never want to cut or scrape the insulation off to test the wire. That's just a recipe for disaster. Also make sure that when you put stuff back together, you route the wires correctly so they're not rubbing on something. When you do disconnect the connector, there's usually a tab like this that you can push on. You never want to pull on the wires like that. You pull on the wires like that to disconnect it, you can dislodge the wire inside the connector or cause a poor connection and create a headache that is very difficult to track down. So just wanted to take a moment, show you guys that. And if you guys have any other thoughts or comments or anything, go ahead and put them in the post, in the comments. Or if you have any stories of situations where you've run into something similar. Hope everyone enjoys.